Okay, good morning, students. So today we will be discussing the next lecture of crop improvement 1. And today's topic is all about hybrid seed production technology in maize. So these all are the contents that we are going to discuss today. That is, we will be discussing what is meant by seed production, what is its importance, what is its importance, and then we will discuss certain principles and methods by which seed can be produced. Then we will have a brief knowledge about hybrid seed production, and then we will come to our today's topic, that is all about hybrid seed production methodology of in maize. So what is meant by the seed production? Seed production, that means seed is to be produced, right? From the name itself, we are coming to know seed production, that is production of the seed. And what is seed? Seed is, it is fertilized ovule, we can call it as a seed. So this is the fertilized ovule, but when we talk for the seed production, that means whatever propagating material we have, that propagating material is to be multiplied. It is to be multiplied, and this process of multiplication of propagating material, this is what is known as seed production. We can also call seed production as a production of improved and high quality seed, that is often referred to as a seed production. So what are the importances of quality seed production? When we say for the importance, then importance can be categorized broadly. They can be categorized into two categories, into two under 2 points. It can be discussed like very first importance of quality seed production is going for the higher production, right? That means here we all want higher production of the seed. What is meant by this higher production? Higher production means what? If you have, if if see, if we are having a good quality seed, if we are having good quality seed, then what we need to talk, this higher production is actually required by whom? Farmers. But farmers will be relying on this high production only if the source is of good quality. And side by side, if the source is of good qualities, then farmers can realize or for the higher production of the seed. And secondly, even they will come to know like cost of production will also be low, because whenever we are utilizing higher seed production or we are utilizing a good quality seed, then obviously the production of the seed is done keeping in mind like there is lower cost of production for that particular seed, so that it is easily in the range of the farmers. Secondly, because when we go for the quality seed production, there are utilization of certain scientific principles. Certain scientific principles are often utilized, and when we are utilizing the scientific principles, then it is more clear to the farmers like whatever production that is going to be produced, it is going to be in a higher amount and it is going to be in a lower quality. Moreover, farmers know like whenever there is going to be the production of seed in a scientific way, then under the scientific way, when we talk for the source of the seed, then the seed source is always taken from a recognized university or from a recognized institute. So this is the all about higher production. And second is reliability means because we are following the scientific principles, so farmers have the faith like whatever source that will be utilized for the production of seed, that in turn is of a good quality, right? Now the next is general principles and methods of seed production. When we are going for the seed production, then what general principles are to be kept in mind, and what methodology is to be implemented. So I will be talking an overview about the general principles and methods of seed production. Very first is the control of seed source. See, why we need to go for controlling the seed source? Because if one want to maintain genetic purity, if one wants to maintain the genetic purity, when this genetic purity is to be maintained, we are talking all about seed production. So when one is relying on the maintenance of genetic purity during the seed production, then it becomes very necessary that the seed is taken from a recognized institute, or it is taken from a recognized source. Always we are looking after taking the seed from a recognized source, because if we are taking the seed from a recognized source, then obviously we know its genetic purity is high, and there are no chances of contamination in terms of genetic content. For example, I have not mentioned here these all steps because this we have already discussed in the last semester also. So it is a kind of revision for you all. So for example, see, if we have foundation seed, if we want to go for seed production of a seed that is said to be foundation seed, then if we want to raise foundation seed, then what must be ensured? Then the source that must be breeder seed, because we know there are various categories of seed like breeder seed, nucleus seed, foundation seed, certified seed, right? So whenever we are to go for raising foundation seed, means whenever we are to go for the production of foundation seed, then for the foundation seed, the source is to be controlled, and in terms of the source that is to be controlled, we need to have breeder seed for the initiation of seed production in terms of say in terms of foundation seed production, right? But whether we have exactly taken the breeder seed or not, from where it will be insured, it will be insured, or it can be verified by the tags and by the labels that are usually attached with this seed bag, right? Because whenever a seed is sown, immediately after the sowing of the seed, when its packing is done at the time of say harvesting and all, a bag is when prepared. This is labeled with a tag. It is attached with a tag, or it is attached with a label, and that label is mentioning all the say features of that particular seed, right? So this is all about control of seed source, because whenever we see students, when we are going for the seed production, one thing that must be clear into your mind is we need to have higher production, right? Higher production means we need to have higher yield. We are focusing for having higher yield. But when you will be achieving higher yield, this higher yield will be achieved only when the source is genetically pure. And the genetically pure source, they are not available in the market, right? They are available in the recognized institute. And whenever any source is procured from a recognized institute, then it itself ensures its genetic purity. Secondly, further, if you want to ensure that the seeds that is procured from recognized source or recognized institute is it is pure in nature or not, that in turn can be judged by the tags or the labels which are attached to the particular source. So this is all about control of seed source. That means here we need to have the we need to have the seed, but that seed must be genetically pure. And if we need to have genetically pure seed with us, then we need to procure it from a recognized institute or from a recognized say company, right? And this control, like why, what is control over here? That is, we are always strict for procuring of a seed from a recognized institute or university only, because that is that is allowing the seed to be genetically pure and free from all kind of contamination. So this is very first step. While we need to go for the seed production, very first thing that we require is the seed source, right? If we will be having seed, then only we will go for its more multiplication, no? But if we don't have the seed, then how we are aiming, or how we can look after the production of seed? So that is the reason, very first thing that you need to have while you go for the seed production is you must be having genetically pure seed source with you. Now you have source, right? Then where that source is to be sown, that is to be sown in the field. So second step, or the method or the principle for the selection of field is for the selection for the production of seed is selection of field. So while one goes for the selection of the field, one thing that is to be kept into mind is field must be of the nature that it fulfills isolation requirements. And whatever field that is to be chosen, suppose here, if as I'm talking, like maize is to be sown, because today we are going to discuss seed production of maize, right? Then whatever field is to be chosen, care must be taken that in the preceding season, the same crop, that means maize, was not grown earlier in the same field. So two things that are to be focused is, very first thing, like whatever field we are choosing and whatever isolation distance is required for production of maize, say this much isolation distance is required and these many rows are required, then it must fulfill isolation requirement. Secondly, it must be clear, like in the preceding season this crop was not grown earlier. Third thing, field should be free from any kind of volunteer plants, because if any remnants of earlier crop is left within the field, then it will grow along with the maize, and when it will be growing along with the maize, then it will occupy the nourishment also. That nourishment can be had by these volunteer plants, which was basically required for the growth of maize. So it should be ensured, like whatever field you are choosing for the production of the seed, that must be free from any kind of volunteer plants, right? One, it should be free from the volunteer plants, then what? And it should also be free from other crop plants. It should be free from weeds also, that are the unwanted types. And when we are selecting any field, very essential point is soil. What is the nature of soil in the field? And it must be ensured that the soil type and fertility, what kind of soil is to be used and how much should be the soil fertile in the nature, that in turn should be according to the requirement of seed crop, right? And of course, the soil must be free from any kind of soil borne diseases. It must be free from any kind of soil borne diseases. So these all are the points which are to be taken care of while one goes for the selection of field. Again, I repeat, very first is like it must fulfill all the requirements that are required for the isolation distance. Then if any field is chosen, it must be chosen taking care of, like in the preceding season same crop was not grown. It must be free from volunteer plants, like other crop plants, weeds. And when we talk for the soil, then soil type and fertility of the soil, it is to be taken care of, and it must match and the crop that is to be produced. And at the end, soil must be free from any kind of soil borne diseases. So with this, we have discussed the very first two principles, that is control of seed source and the selection of field. Now third is isolation from contamination. Isolation from contamination means, see, when we are maintaining the proper isolation distance in the field, then obviously the chances of contaminations are very less. So, so the seed crop must be grown. Whatever seed crop it is to be grown, this seed crop must be grown taking care of like it is grown in proper isolation. Proper isolation is given very first from taking in care of other field. If this field is surrounded by the other field where same crop is grown, then this isolation distance care must be taken, right? And we must take care like there are minimum chances of outcrossing, disease spread, and while one goes for the processing like harvesting, threshing, and processing at that particular timing, the chances of contamination must be reduced to zero value, right? Next is all about farm operations. What we all do during the farm operation, we prepare the field, we go for sowing, we go for adding manures and fertilizers, we irrigate the soil, and even we drain the soil, and at the end we often look for the plant protection. So very first when we come to the preparation of the field, then seed field should be well prepared. How it is to be prepared, it should be well prepared. Obviously, very properly you are to prepare this field, and good preparation will be only the one that is that involves the improved germination, because if field you have prepared nicely, then it will always promote the germination, right? There will be improvement of germination, there will be control of the weed, and there will be control of the weed, because in the field what extra things can be found, no, what extra things that can be found is all about weed. That is the sometimes what we are looking after, we used to have unwanted plants that are growing along with your desired plant, and we don't want any undesired plant to grow along with your desired plant, because if any desired plant is growing along with the growth of undesired plant, then there will be competition among the two, and obviously there will be after the competition, and there may be the chances like the nourishment that was to be actually supplied to the say your desired plant, it is being given to the undesired. In that case, your desired crop will remain unhealthy, and we cannot reach our goal, that is the higher production, right? So this is the reason whatever field that is utilized for the production of the seed, it must be well prepared. It should give a higher percentage of germination. There must be control of the weed, and at the end, there must be better water management. There must be better water management, right? So this is all about the preparation of the field. The next is sowing. How sowing is to be done? There is a particular time for the sowing, so that time is to be considered. And whenever sowing is to be done, care should be taken that within the soil there is optimum moisture. While one goes for the sowing, there must be optimum moisture present in the soil. Then for sowing, you need to consider the seed rate, and the seed rate must always be lesser. Like you need not to use a higher seed rate, lesser seed rate should be used than the commercial rate. Say if 100 is the number of if 100 is the seed rate for commercial production, if 100 is seed rate, while one goes for the commercial production, commercial means at the large scale production, then seed rate for your production, it must be reduced to 50 seed rate only. That means seed rate, that is the number of the seeds that are to be planted within the field, that must be lesser than the actual number that is required for the commercial seed production, right? So seed rate, one we have to take care of time, then we need to take care of optimum moisture, then seed rate, and We can often go for the treatment of seeds also, because sometimes the seeds we have, they may be having contamination, so the seeds are to be treated, so that because sometimes seeds undergo dormancy period. So to break the dormancy, seeds are treated before sowing. So this is all about sowing. I just hope it is clear. While sowing, one need to take care of time of sowing, then optimum moisture of the soil, seed rate is to be considered, and seeds are to be treated because sometimes seeds undergo dormancy stage, and so before they are sown, they must be treated with certain chemicals so as to break them, break their dormancy period. Next is about manures and fertilizers. When we talk for the manures and the fertilizers, we basically talk for NPK, that is nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. And this NPK should be given, it should be given at a proper time, and it should be given in a proper dosage. So whenever NPK is to be given for the implementation, for the supplementation of this NPK, that is said to be manures and fertilizers, proper time and doses must be taken care of. It must be given at a proper time, and at a proper dose is to be given, right? This is about manures and fertilizers. Now, how many times manures or fertilizers are to be given? For example, if I talk for the nitrogenous fertilizers, then nitrogenous fertilizers, they are applied 2 to 3 times at the time of sowing, and 30 to 40 days after sowing, right? I mean to say, like I said, no, proper timing must be there for supplementing the seed with manures and fertilizers. And I often give you one example, like when we are giving these nitrogenous fertilizers, how many number of times they are to be given? They can be given 2 to 3 times, and these 2 to 3 times, three timings, they can be given at the time of sowing, and 30 to 40 days after sowing, or say before flowering. But when we talk for this phosphorus and potash, then they are given before sowing or at the time of sowing. That means the one that we were giving after the 30 days or before the flowering, it is not to be done in case of potassium and this phosphorus, right? So these potassium and phosphorus, they are only to be given at the time of sowing or before the sowing. So this is all about time, and doses is very clear, like how much amount is to be given, that is again to be considered, right? Next is irrigation of drainage. What is meant by this irrigation of drainage? Irrigation and drainage, that means if we want good yield, because again and again I'm repeating, like our focus for the seed production is to produce the seed, and that seed is to be produced with a good yield, right? So if one want to obtain good yield from the seed crop, then for obtaining good yield, not 1, 2, or 3 irrigations are to be done. Several number of irrigations are to be done. So several irrigations are to be given if one is aiming to achieve a good yield, right? But it must not be like this. If several irrigations are given to the field, then there is all irrigation means supply of the water, then it must not be like water is being stored in the soil, and that may in result into the formation of or attack of many diseases, pests, and so on. There should be proper drainage also. That means this water must disperse also. So proper drainage, if excessive amount of the water is given to the farm, then there must be the proper arrangement for the drainage of this excessive water. This is also required. Irrigation means supply of the water, and in case excessive amount of water is supplied to the farm, then that is to be drained, and this is said to be drainage, right? Supplying water is said irrigation, and removing the excessive water is said to be drainage. Last one is plant protection. When we talk for the plant protection, to keep the seed crop free from the any kind of weeds, say insect pest, diseases, right? And to keep the seed clean, what is required? Plant protection can be done by hoeing, It can be done by hoeing and weeding. So to avoid any attack of insect, to avoid any attack of pest, to keep the seed clean, hoeing and weeding they should be done at regular intervals, and in certain cases when you feel like hoeing and weeding is not sufficient enough for the protection of the plant, then in that particular cases one can often go for the spraying or dusting of fungicide, fungicide, then insecticide. This can also be done. Fungicide and insecticide spray can also be done if required. So, with this, I have completed the very four principles and methods of seed production. That is, very first is a higher yield seed will be produced if a source of the seed is controlled. If you are taking care of all the factors while selecting the field, you are preventing the contamination in terms of isolation, and these all farm operations are to be kept into mind. Then the next principles involve roguing. Roguing is what? It is again the removal of other crop plants, weeds, disease plants, so that no outcrossing takes place, right? And because roguing is, we can say it, or we can define it as the removal of unwanted plants. The removal of unwanted plants is all about roguing. And unwanted plants can be diseased plants, it can be the crop plants other than our crop plant, it can be contaminated plants, right? So they are to be removed. They are to be properly removed, and after removing, they are not to be placed, they are not to be thrown near the farm only. They are to be dumped at a far place, so that there is no dissemination of the diseases from those contaminated plants, right? And how this spread of the diseases can be controlled. It can be controlled by putting all these contaminated diseased plants in the bags and then throwing it away from the farm. Next is harvesting and threshing. This is very clear to you all, like while one goes for the sometimes what we are using machines for the harvesting and threshing. Sometimes what happens, this machine is earlier utilized for the harvesting and threshing of other crop, and when it is utilized without cleaning for our own crop, in that case is there comes the chances of mixing. And when mixing is taking place, then at that particular time there are the chances of raising of the contamination, right? So whenever harvesting or threshing is done, it must be taken care it must be taken care of harvesting is done only when crop and weather conditions are okay, and machines or the combines which are usually used for this threshing purposes, they are clean, so that there is no mechanical mixing taking place, and it should be done whenever we go for the threshing, it should be done on floor cement. Next is seed processing. When we go for the seed processing, while one goes for the seed processing, one must be familiar with the moisture content. At the time of harvesting and threshing, moisture content is basically high, right? That means when we are discussing the seed processing and when we go to the previous step, that is harvesting and threshing, then we come to know that a moisture content in the seed is higher at the time of harvesting and threshing. So if the moisture content is higher, we need not to go for the seed processing. What we need to do, we need to dry the seeds. The seeds are to be dried. Seeds are to be dried, but up to the level that they retain safe moisture amount. And how this drying can be done? It can be done by placing the seeds in under the sun, or it can be done by mechanically supplying the heated air, right? Whatever is necessary. And if we talk for the safe moisture content, if I give example like in case of cereals, this safe moisture content is up to 12%. That means this much percentage is to be kept. Similarly, if I talk for the cotton, then for the cotton, it is for the cotton it used to be 10%, right? If we talk for the soybean, then for the soybean also optimum safe moisture content level is 10%. So seed, if it is having a higher moisture content, then it is to be dried to the it is to be dried to the normal value, right? Thereafter comes the seed treatment. Because seed can be attacked by, if this is the seed, then seed can be attacked by number of insect, by the number of diseases which are born within the seed. And this attack basically takes place at the time of storage. So to avoid any spread of the disease, the seed is to be treated with various kinds of insecticides and various kinds of fungicides. Insecticides and fungicides, right? Then is the seed storage. Now, when you have treated the seed, storage is also to be done very properly, very carefully. So seeds are basically stored in the environment where there is low moisture and where there is a low temperature available. Low moisture and low temperature is available at that particular area, seeds are to be stored. This is basically done because if the moisture level is high, then it will be easily, and there will be the easy growth of the insect, and the seed will be attacked by these grown up insects, right? So one insect can attack if the moisture level is high, and secondly, pathogens also attack to the seed. So to avoid any damage that in turn is caused by insect and pathogen under the low moisture conditions, we need to maintain the proper moisture level. Further, to avoid any direct attack of the insect pathogens, one can store the seeds in bags, and whatever bag that is to be used, care must be taken that this bag is clean, right? And bags can also be dipped in before using the bag can also be cleaned by dipping the bag in DDT solution, and thereafter it can be dried properly, and then it can be brought into the use. So while one goes for the storage, these two are the major requirements which are to be kept into mind, because if there is a higher moisture, there are the more chances for the attack of insect and pathogens. And further, to avoid direct contact, one can store the seed in the bags, and that bags in turn can be cleaned. How they can be cleaned? They can be dipped into the DDT solution, and then they can be dried, and then they can be utilized for the storage of seed. Next is seed testing. Why seeds are to be tested? Seeds need to be tested just to know, or just to have knowledge about the genetic and physical purity of the seed. Just to have knowledge about genetic and physical property of the seed is to be tested, right? And how we can test the seed? Again, we can treat the seed with a number of chemicals, with a number of fungicides for maintenance of its genetically, for the maintenance of purity and physical purity. Then at the end, when all the steps for the seed productions have been completed, at the end we need, that means once this processing, treatment and testing is done, once these three steps are done, then after these, seeds are to be filled in the bags. And very important again, because as I told, storage is to be done at a low moisture level, so whatever bags are to be used, they must be having appropriate they must be appropriate moisture proof bags, and once they are sealed, then tags are to be attached with these bags so that one could have all the information at the time of its uses. So students, these 11 points are the general methods and general principles and methods which one has to keep into the mind for the production of seed. Once we have covered these general principles and methods, we need to know what actually we need to discuss about hybrid seed production, right? So we need to discuss what is now, we have got familiar with the seed production. That means to multiplication of propagating material is what we call it as a seed production. But what about hybrid seed production? But before I introduce you all to the hybrid seed production, we must know what is meant by the F1 hybrid. So, what is F1 hybrid? F1 hybrid is actually the progeny of two plants. Say this is parent 1, this is parent 2, and when it gives rise to the next progeny, this is said to be hybrid. And this very first progeny is said to be F1 generation. So the progeny of cross that is done among the two plants, this is what is said to be F1 hybrid. And since this hybrid used to have half of the chromosome from parent 1 and half it is receiving from the parent 2, so this is always superior to its parents, and this superiority of the hybrid over its parents, this is said to be heterosis. This phenomenon is called as heterosis, or it is often referred to as hybrid vigor. Now there are two parents, basically there are two parents utilized. The one that is said to be female parent. Here the female parent is called as seed parent, and the other that is the male parent, it is called as pollinator. So I just hope these four terms are clear to all. So what is F1 hybrid? So it is the progeny of cross between the two parents. Here the two parents are two plants. This is called F1 hybrid. And when these selected parents are crossed together, then F1 hybrid is obtained from the cross. And as I said, its nature is, its feature is, it performs better than its parents. And this phenomenon is called as heterosis. One thing that I would like to introduce you with all, like these the effect, very important it is. When we talk for the effect of this heterosis, you know, this effect, that is superiority of the F1 hybrid over its parent, it is limited up to F1 generation only. It is not passed to the next and next generation, that it is no more passed to F2, say F3, or say F4 generation. This heterosis nature, this hybrid vigor nature, it is just restricted to F1 generation only. So this is the reason each year we need to go for the production of F1 hybrid, right? Now we will talk about the selection of parents. Before we actually go for the seed production, very important criteria that is to be considered is all about the selection of parents, right? All we need to consider is the selection of parents. So when we talk for the selection of parents, then these varieties, or say some varieties are selected. How you will go for the selection of parents? Obviously, you must have kept certain desirable characters into your mind, and on the basis of these desirable characteristics, parents are selected, right? Suppose you wanted to have one plant with good height. This is your desirable character for one parent, and for the other parent you wanted to have good yield. Now the F1 that is the result of this cross, F1 hybrid that is produced as a result of this cross, it will be having both the desired feature, like it will be giving good height also, and along with the good height it is giving good yield also. So While one goes for the selection of parents, selection of the parents or say selection of the varieties is always done on the basis of desirable characters. Those parents, what after the selection of the parents, what is done? These parents are, because it is not like as I said, like it is maintained, or the feature of the superiority is maintained only up to the F1 generation. So this is the reason you need to cross this plant, this hybrid is again crossed with this hybrid, and this whatever product we are having, it is again crossed with the same hybrid. This we call as a self fertilization. So these whatever characters varieties we have chosen, these are self fertilized for near about 5 to 6 years, so that whatever line we are receiving, like F1 generation, F2 generation, whatever line we are receiving, it is all homozygous in the nature, that is, it is having the same character throughout its generation. Homozygous means they are similar to their parents, right? And these homozygous lines, very important, these homozygous lines are the ones which are said to be inbred lines. These are said to be inbred lines. Now, I will be talking for these three terms on the basis of combining ability of these inbred lines. I just hope this much is clear to all. So, on the basis of combining ability of these inbred lines, I will be defining these terms. Very first is said to be combining ability. Second is said to be general combining ability, and third is said to be specific combining ability. Very first, I will be covering the combining ability. And these three terms are just being elaborated on the basis of combining ability of inbred lines. Again, I repeat, on the basis of ability of inbred lines, say combining ability. Very first we are going to discuss is the combining ability. So it is the relative ability. See, we have inbred lines with us. Inbred lines means these are the homozygous lines where there is no difference among the genetic content, and all are phenotypically similar to each other. The capability of, very important it is, kindly listen carefully. The capability of the inbred lines, that whatever characters it is having, that are transmitted or not, that is said to be combining ability. That means it is the ability of an inbred line to transmit, that means to transmit its desirable performance, in its hybrid. Because inbred lines are the lines which are similar in phenotype, right? Rather that whatever feature that is lying with these homozygous line, whether it is capable of transferring it to the desired trait or not, that is said to be its combining ability. If it is giving average performance, then we call, that means if it is giving average performance, then it has not transferred all of its desirable features, then it is said to be general combining ability. And if the performance is between say this is one inbred, this is two inbred, if say the performance is between these two inbreds, then it is called as a specific combining ability. That means it is capable of transferring its desirable traits, but that desirable trait is limited up to a specific value. Say if its value is 1, if the value is 5, that means the in between, that means somewhere it is capable of transferring 2.5 level of say features. This is clear to all. So how much inbred is capable of transferring its feature, on that basis we call it as a combining ability, general combining ability, or the specific, right? But the one while we go for the hybrid seed production, we go for the selection of the inbreds which show specific combining ability. These are actually selected for hybrid seed production, right? Now next we will be talking about methods of hybrid seed production. I just hope what all is the intro about hybrid seed production is clear to all, and what kind of inbreds are to be chosen for the hybrid seed production. Next we will be talking about methods of hybrid seed production. Methods are basically categorized into three categories. Very first is the hand emasculation and pollination. Then hybrid seed production can be had from monoecious crops. And third, we can go for making the utilization of male sterility for the production of hybrid seed production. Very first is the hand emasculation. Hand emasculation and pollination. You all are much familiar with the hand emasculation. Like hand emasculation is to be carried out when we have bisexual flowers, because the term emasculation is standing for, as we have discussed in the practical also, the term emasculation stands for the removal of male part, and this male part is to be removed, taking care of like no damage is caused to the female part, right? This is what is known as emasculation. When we need to go for the hand emasculation, we need to go for the hand emasculation if the flower is very large in the size, and secondly, emasculation if it is required, obviously flower is of a kind that is said to be bisexual. That means it is having both the male and female sex organs within it. So this method, that is hand emasculation and pollination, it is basically utilized in the flowers which are bisexual, which are of bisexual nature, which are larger in size, and where fruit is producing, because we have attached this term with the pollination. That means here when we talk for the fruit, then fruit is producing many more number of the seeds. So here what is done, in the hand emasculation, male part is removed before anthesis, so that self-pollination could be controlled, and the ones from where this male part have been removed, they can be bagged, so that to avoid attack by any outsider pollen, and thereafter, once it is matured, then hybrid seed can be collected, and this is basically implemented for the species like cotton, tomato, and brinjal. Cotton, tomato, and brinjal. But you know, going for the emasculation with the help of a hand, it is very tedious process, as I have already explained to you all. And so to avoid this tedious process, emasculation can also be done by dipping the panicles in the hot water, by giving the cold treatment, right? Like by treating it with the various gametocides, so that it is only affecting the male part and it is no more causing any damage in the growth and to the female part, right? This is about hand emasculation and pollination. Next is about monoecious crops. Monoecious crops, as everyone knows, name itself is indicating monoecious, means here the crops is having only plant is bearing the flowers which either have male inflorescence or either they are having the female inflorescence. When we talk for the monish in terms of maize, when we talk for the maize, then in the maize, male inflorescence, that is called as tassel, male inflorescence is removed, right? And how hybrid seed can be produced here? There can be carried four kinds of process for the production of hybrid crops in case of monoecious crops. Like very first is a single cross. Though as it is name is indicating, single cross means a cross that is carried between two inbreds. Say the one inbred is A and it is crossed with B. This is said to be single cross, right? The cross that is carried between two inbreds. Three-way cross means now here how many inbreds are going to be there? 3. So it is a kind of cross that is represented in this way. Here 3 inbreds are cross among each other. Double cross means here there are going to be 2 single crosses. This is one cross. This is one cross. And this one cross is to be crossed with another cross. This is said to be double cross, right? And the last one is top cross or inbred variety cross. Here inbred line, Here, whatever inbred line we have, that top cross means something specific is to be introduced here. So inbred crop here, it is crossed with some certified. It is crossed with some certified open pollinated variety. Because we know these are the monoecious crops and they have only one, they are having only one say reproductive part within it. So for the production of hybrid, we require two parents. So following combinations can be made for the production of hybrid seed. So very first is a single cross, then three-way cross, then double cross, and the last one is said to be top cross, or it is often called as inbred variety cross. Now the next is by using male sterility. Male sterility, everyone is familiar with the term male sterility, that here the male part is either it is not properly developed, it is maldeveloped, right? It is maldeveloped and it is no more bearing any functional pollen grains. So this is said to be male sterility. Now there are three ways of male sterility that is found. Sometimes the male sterility is controlled by the cytoplasmic factors. Sometimes it is controlled by the genetic factors, and sometimes it is controlled by both cytoplasm and genetic factors. Genetic factors means because within the cell we used to have cytoplasm, and within the cytoplasm we used to have nucleus. So these three differentiations are on the basis like if male sterility, that means maldevelopment of the pollen grain, so the non-functionality of the pollen grain is due to the genes which are present in the cytoplasm, then we call it as a cytoplasmic male sterility. And if the genes that is responsible for the maldevelopment of say pollen grains, or for the non-functionality of the pollen grains, if the genes are present in the new genetic means they are present in the nucleus, then we call it as a genetic male sterility, right? And if the genes are present in both the cytoplasm as well as the genes are present in the nucleus, then we combinedly call it as cytoplasmic genetic male sterility. So these are the abbreviations for the three methodologies. CMS stands for cytoplasmic male sterility, GMS stands for genetic male sterility, and this one stands for cytoplasmic genetic male sterility, right? I won't be going into its detail. So these all are the methods which are basically required for the hybrid seed production. Now we are to discuss today's topic, that is all about hybrid seed production of maize. And while I go for making you all familiar with the hybrid seed production of the maize, I would like to tell you like these 6 parameters are to be kept into mind while one goes for the hybrid seed production of maize. Very first is of course seed source, and then isolation, then all the things that are related to the sowing like irrigation, drainage and all, right? Fertilization implementation, then rogging, detasseling, that means removal of any one, because we have discussed like in hybrid seed production we have discussed no the when very one method is detasseling also, where male part is removed. D means removal and tasseling means male part, right? And at the end we need to take care of harvesting and threshing. So we will be discussing these all parameters one by one. The very first is seed source. Of course, as I have repeated it many times, whatever source that is to be utilized, that particular kind of source must be taken from a recognized institute or from a recognized university. So here the seeds of inbreds and single crosses, they are basically available in 1,000 viable kernels, and it is always to be procured from a recognized certification agency or National Seed Corporation, that is abbreviated as NSC. And while one goes for the procurement, even after, very important, even after you are going for the procurement of say a seed source from a recognized university, you must check after the information that is available on the label, right? Because label is the one that is very immediately attached to the seed bag once it is sown, right? So isolation. Of course, whatever the field you are choosing, it must be with the concept like it is maintaining the proper isolation distance. Because if there is proper isolation distance, then lesser are the chances of contamination. For example, if we talk for the maize, because we are discussing these all parameters under the seed production, hybrid seed production of maize. So if maize, we talk for the maize production, then an isolation distance of 200 meter is to be kept into mind if maize are to be isolated from another maize which is having same color and size. But in case maize is isolated from another maize, but its size is a different color is different, then 300-meter isolation distance is to be maintained. Once while you are going for the production of foundation seed production, then 400 and 600 isolation distance is recommended. And isolation can be provided by making differences in sowing time, right? How much isolation is to be provided, that makes differences in the sowing time. Next is sowing. How sowing is to be done. For the sowing, you need to take care of seed rate. And as I have already dictated, seed rate is always to be utilized at a rate that is lesser than the commercial seed rate. That is lesser than the commercial seed rate. So here seed rate for the foundation seed production of inbreds, it is 60 TVK. Here for the male and female parents, it is 20 TVK and 40 TVK respectively for male and female. What is to be done? 4 rows of female, then 2 rows of male. These are sown alternatively, right? These are the 4 rows of female, then 2 rows of these male, then again we repeat 4 rows of female, and again we repeat 2 rows of male. Alternatively means one after the another. These are to be like sowing is to be done in this manner, right? And the border rows are planted around the field from the seed of male parent. That means male border is to be made of male parent, right? When we use inbred line or single cross, they are basically giving higher yield as a seed parent. After the sowing, these rows of male parent, they are marked with flags on both ends so that it is easy to distinguish, recognize. And at the end, to make the pollen available for a longer period, these periodically sowings are made for the male parent, right? So this is about sowing. Next is rogging. Rogging is what? As I've already described, rogging is the process of removal of all the unwanted plants. These unwanted plants can be the crops can be different crops. These unwanted plants can be different crops. They can be weeds. They can be diseased plants. They can be infected plants, right? They can be off-type plants. So from the seed crop of the inbred lines, all these off-type and disease, they are to be removed. And very important, their removal is to be done before flowering. If before flowering you have done, then it is often to be inspected at the time of flowering. And finally, you need to inspect the farm for the non-presence of any kind of weeds at the maturity stage also. So rogging is basically implemented at 3 stages. Very first one is the flowering, before flowering, and then at the time of flowering and at the time of maturity. You must be very cautious about this rogging, because if there is left any remnant of the previous crop of if, or if there is a presence of any, say what we call it as a, say any unwanted plant, then see within the field if there will be the presence of any, say this is I'm representing as unwanted plant, then presence of this unwanted plant along with our desired plant is going to be very hazardous in the terms like it will be it for its growth. Of course, whatever nutrients you are going to give to this soil for the growth of your desired crop, they will also be available to this unwanted plant. And of course, it will be receiving the nutrients from these receiving the nutrients which are actually to be consumed by our desired crop for its growth proper growth. So as a result, there may be deficiency of the nutrients, because it is also utilizing plenish of the plenty of the amount that is actually to be consumed by our desired crop. So this is the reason, like we must be ensured like our farm is free from any kind of unwanted plants, right? Sometimes jogging is done twice, like first time at flowering and second time at maturity. Like we need not to go for the 3 time. Two timings are sufficient, but we need to how many time at how many timings, like for how many timings it is to be done. This in turn is dependent upon the level of say it is in turn dependent upon the level of contamination, right? From the row of male parent, all the off-type plants must be removed, and this is very important. Why from the male parent we have specifically mentioned, like from the male parent, off-types are to be removed, because this is the male parent, and what male parent is going to produce? It is going to produce the pollen. If our unwanted plant is female, then there will be a fertilization among this unwanted and our desired, and the seed will that will be produced, it will be contaminated one. So care is to be taken, like from the rows it must be ensured, like from the rows of male parent, all the off type plants they are removed, and this removal must be ensured before the shedding of pollen, right? The next is detasseling, that is removal of the tassel. That is, tassel is what, in the maize, tassel is actually the male inflorescence, and it is to be removed before completely coming out. Before the leaf flag leaf comes out, this tasseling is to be done. And how tasseling? After the tasseling, once it is removed, it can be dropped onto the ground, and from the ground pollen grains can be collected, and this procedure is continued daily till all the tassels are removed. We need to continue this process of detasseling. The next is harvesting and threshing. You all know harvesting is to be done very carefully, and harvesting is to be done taking care of, like there is no mixing of two different crops, like to avoid any admixing, that we have covered in fourth semester also. And harvesting should be done, very important, after the final inspection of the crop only. When the cobs have turned to yellow and grains are hardened, that is the particular time for suitable harvesting to be conducted. But before you actually go for the for harvesting, ensure like there is no more presence of types and diseased cobs, because if it is there, then they again will get mixed with the desired one, and they will lead to the contamination at the time of storage, at the time of processing, and so on. But how you could go for the harvesting, because harvesting is done at a proper moisture level. So this is the reason, like you must monitor the moisture level, and moisture level should be in the optimum range. If it is in the optimum range, then you can think about say harvesting or threshing. And if it is not in the appropriate amount, you need to dry your crop so that the optimum moisture level is achieved, and thereafter only you can go for the shelling. And finally, the seeds are processed and filled in bags and stored under good storage conditions, where there is a say minimum where there is the presence of a minimum moisture, and the low temperature is there we need to go for the storage of seed. So this is how one can go for the hybrid seed production of maize. So this was all about my today's lecture. If you people have any doubt, we can discuss it just after this lecture. Okay. So thank you, and stay home and stay blessed.